Joe Rebelo with Martial Arts Today Television, and I'm in Chicago, Illinois. Can you tell from the sounds around me? Sure you can. And I came here for a very special event. I came here for the Al Tracy Memorial event, but I also came here to check out a memory from childhood, teenage years, and being a martial artist. I came to Chicago, Illinois to come to East West Market Exchange, the home of Bear Brand Martial Arts Supplies. Bear Brand has been in existence since 1964, ran by Master Kyung son Shin. Now, Master Shin has opened the Military Arts Institute here in Chicago since 1963. And again, if you wanted quality uniforms, if you wanted quality belts that stood the test of time, you got a Bear Brand uniform, you got a Bear Brand belt, and you got some of the wildest martial arts supplies in this country. So we're here to interview Master Shin and talk about his career and the legacy of East West Market Exchange and Bear Brand. Stay tuned for more exciting action here on Martial Arts Today TV. And we're back with more exciting action here on Martial Arts Today Television. And I am honored and privileged to literally be at one of the, in my opinion, martial arts supply meccas. And we're here in Chicago, Illinois, and we're here with Master Shin, and we're here at East West Market Exchange, known to many of you who have been involved in the martial arts as the home of Bear Brand. Master Shin, it's a pleasure finally getting to meet you, sir.
Yeah, nice to meet you. You are really encyclopedia of the martial art.
I'll tell you, we've been having a field day looking around through this location and naming different items. You know, Master Shin, the first question I ask all my interviewees is, how did you begin in the martial arts?
Oh, well, when I was 9 years old, I started practice Kendo.
Really?
At the time, it's a Japanese occupation in Korea. So I took the 2 years Kendo. Then 1945, World War II was over. All the Japanese went back. Then I still like a martial art. So I started to karate.
Really?
The instructor from Japan, they were teaching karate, so I started karate. At the time, one side karate, the other side judo. So I've been practicing karate every day, and after 6 months, they move out from the same location. I've been practicing karate. So it's too far to go to, looking for karate school. So I know that time owner of the judo school, he asked me to come on, practice judo. Then ever since then, I practice judo. Then 10 years later, and I start to Tang Sudo.
Oh.
Yeah. So I have a practice Tang Sudo, Judo, and Hapkido background.
Wow, excellent.
Yeah.
Now, please. Now, when you were studying those arts again, later on, the Koreans would take the terms from the Japanese occupation and make them unique. Like Kendo became Kumdo, Judo became Yudo. And what did you find any distinct differences between the Korean versions or the format?
I really don't see Komdo. You know, they say the Korean art, but I don't have really chance to see their demonstration or anything. But they still practice Kendo in Japan. I mean, Korea. Yes, they have a competition. They go into international Kendo competition. Yeah, they do very well.
And also for our viewers, Tang Sudo, the way of the China hand, which originally was the original version or translation of Karate Do. some say 32, 36, the Japanese government told the Okinawan masters that they didn't want to use China hand any longer, and they switched it to what we now know as empty hand for karate. But Tang Soo Do and Tang Soo is a prevalent incorporation of the Korean Taekyon and the Korean arts and the Okinawan and Japanese karate systems. Now, with all this training, also in Hapkido, we talk about Hapkido. Where did you learn your Hapkido?
Hapkido, I took the private lesson from Korean Judo College. His name is Dr. Dashi Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was teaching 1950, 55. I took the 2-year private lesson from him. Yeah.
For our viewers, again, Hapkido. When people look at the kanji, if they look at the Chinese or the Japanese calligraphy, they see if the Japanese term Aikido, but it's not. Again, Hapkido is a combination of Daito-ru, Aiki Jiu-Jitsu, and Taekyon, the native Korean kicking techniques. And Takeda and Seo Choi and as many people like them really gave it their own unique flavor and was later popularized in the 1970s in the Billy Jack films.
Right.
Now, what made you come to America?
Oh, I was running a drugstore in Korea.
Really?
Yeah. So that time, we don't know how to make a color capsule.
Oh, the gelatin capsules?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So I want to learn that how to make it. So I came to United States, also teaching judo, martial art, and learning how to make it. So I went to Upton Pharmaceutical Company in Kalamazoo, Michigan. They said we buy from Park Davis in Detroit. And so I went to Park Davis Pharmaceutical Company. They say they don't hire any foreigners.
Wow!
So,
Now, please, just for our viewers, what year is this?
That's 1963. No, 61.
61.
Yeah.
By the way, the year I was born. Wow. So when they told you that, what did you do? What?
So at that time it was very hard to come into the United States. So Dr. Kim was teaching at Georgia Southwestern College, and he told me, I'm graduating this school. You want to take over my job? So sure, why not? So I went to Georgia Southwestern College for 2 years. I finished there. Yeah. Then I came to Chicago, and I met one of my senior judo black belt. He told me, you're so good judo, why don't you open up the school? At the time, I helping University of Chicago Judo Club. Yeah. So I opened up the school. That time, only 4 schools in entire Chicago, martial arts school.
Wow.
Yeah. Now it's more than 100. Yeah.
I believe it.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
So started open up the school. Then I need judo gi.
Sure.
Yeah. And I buy from Honda in New York.
I'm very familiar with Honda.
Yeah.
I have been, sadly, Honda no longer exists.
Right.
But I met the last owner of Honda and was able to be, again, like coming here. It's like a kid in a candy store. It's like Christmas. I mean, the gis and the uniforms and the weapons. And he had this box of surplus patches, which was like this tall, this wide, this thick. And I'm going through them like Indiana Jones, looking for what I could find.
Yeah, so I buy from Honda. Honda always running out of merchandise.
Oh.
They don't have in stock. Sometimes you have to wait months. Yeah. So I contact to Korea, see any you guys are making judo uniform. Yeah. They just started making judo uniform through the automatic weaving machine.
Oh.
Before, we've been using handmade judogi. Yeah.
Handmade judo gis.
So I started to set up the factory in Korea, import from Korea. Yeah. Then Bruce Lee came out, and Nunchaku is the best weapon sale. You know, when I started to sell Nunchaku, people lined up every sale. They bought one block to buy Nunchaku.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know, for we're going to be showing you advertisements as we're going through this interview and afterwards about some of the products that were offered through Bear Brand, and you know, again, and matter of fact, let's get to that right away. Why Bear Brand? Why did you choose that for a name?
Oh, that time there's every company have you know, animal brand, like O'Hara in Louisiana.
Yep.
He had the dragon.
Dragon brand.
Yeah. And so me and Mike talked to, you know, what is the best animal, make it strong, you know. He said, I think it's a bear is good. So we started to use the Bear brand.
And that brand has become a legend. If you're a martial artist who's been around for a while, you know Bear Brand. And you know, Master Shin, I'll be the first to say, you made some of, and still do, make some of the best quality uniforms, belts. They stand the test of time.
Thank you.
I have a certain uniforms that are like 35, 40 years old that are still in decent shape. I have belts that may have discolored, and you know, as a martial artist, I mean, you may, who are watching this, may not understand the concept. We like things looking old. We like when it discolors and grays out and the color fades, because that shows the hard work and the time and training you put into your martial arts. And Bear Brand was like a showcase. When you got a Bear Brand belt, you knew it was going to last. And sometimes, a lot of times, it outlasted how long you were in that rank. Yeah. Now, again, you talk about the Nunchaku, and you know, I'm going to mention an item that I remember from my time. There were certain unique things that you would get from Bear Brand. Like one of them I remember with the Nunchaku. At one time, you had a multiple weighted Nunchaku, and you could screw on these different weights and change the weight of the actual Nunchaku. Where did you get this thing?
That's my second son's idea. He created that weight training Nunchaku.
Wow.
So we started to make it, and we sell lots of it.
Oh yeah.
People still looking for, but we cannot find the manufacturer anymore.
Oh wow. Yeah, that was one, and that was just one of the many items.
Uh-huh.
Another one that I have here with me, I remember in the 1980s, Leung Ting, the famous Wing Chun master, he was involved with a publishing company. And he would get these different masters to come in and demonstrate particular skills that they specialized in. One master was an expert in five animal Hung Quen, or five animal Hung family fist. Another one was an expert in the Kwando, and they made a book on him. But the one that was really unique, it was a book called Dragon Tiger Swordsmanship.
Uh-huh.
And the weapon was very unique. It was a long double-edged sword with like a square, almost like a ninja-like tsuba, or that's the Japanese term for a guard. And the other part had an S shape, or manji or nunte-like guard, and it was a shorter blade. And it was a nice book, interesting form. Couldn't get the weapon until you made them. And hold on a moment. Let's show you what I'm talking about. Now, you know, Master Shin, I gotta say, you know, when I saw this on the wall, I have the aluminum one. This is the, and I mean heavy metal one. This has got weight. This has got oomph to it.
Stainless steel.
And as you can see, it looks like one sword, which is very commonplace. We have a joke. The Chinese are too cheap to have two scabbards, so they put them both in one.
Yeah.
But it's a half sword, so it can fit in one scabbard. And again, when you separate it, it separates into two swords. And if you can see how one fits in this specific handle, and the other one has this S-shaped guard. This was incredible. When you put these out, I was like, oh my gosh, I can actually learn the form and do it. What was the impetus behind it, and how was it made, and you know, what's the story behind this?
You know, I forgot how we start. I think my wife was talking to one of the Kung Fu instructor. They come to my store asking can you make this? And he brought the book. Then that's how we start, making from Korea.
Wow.
Yeah.
And some of the different, some of the different items and things that you had made in Korea that was so important for the different types. We talked about Bruce Lee and the popularity of Nunchaku. Another one that you were famous for, and again, we have to explain, back then you were buying full page and double page ads in Black Belt magazine and Inside Kung Fu. If you don't mind my asking, it's 40 years later, what was that costing you back then? That must have been expensive.
The advertising?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's $1,200 page.
Back then?
Yeah.
Wow. And not only that, they were full color ads. They were full color page ads and double page ads. And it was incredible. Of course, you took full extent of the popularity of the 1980s, the ninja craze. And I grabbed one of these off the wall, and this is just one of the wonderful items that was very unique to Bear Brand. And this particular, again, a camouflage saya, as the Japanese would call it, a scabbard. And the braiding in this is not your traditional Japanese braiding. It's very unique. Talk to me about the creation of these.
This is, when we started sell ninja product, we went to Japan. Japan doesn't know how to make a ninja uniform. So they went to the historical some building. That's how they find the ninja uniform.
And we were talking about this earlier about Masaki Hatsumi and how the ninjutsu was popularized back in the 60s through a children's television show, and they actually had an amusement park. And of course, Iga has a ninja museum. So they had to go to the ninja museum to actually look at how to make it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And these, like I said, if you look at again the popularity in the 1980s, and I know it's not going to be easy to unlock this thing because it's been several years. Wow, that's tight. But you have to realize again that the popularity of these and whatnot, and it's been 30 years, 35 years easy. Mm-hmm. And now another thing that I remember, and we've got to talk. Speaking of the ninja craze, in the 1960s, Charles, and I know I'm going to probably Gasansky, out of the New York, New Jersey area, he was a judo and jiu-jitsu practitioner, and he had studied in Japan with the Masaki Ryu, which was a system of the Manriki Gusari, or 10,000 chain.
I think it's Charles Gasansky from Chicago.
Chicago, really?
Yeah, he was Kyokushin Karate.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. He died a long time ago. He was teaching really Japanese traditional, martial art under the Kyokushin Karate.
And also, he put out a popular book called Spike and Chain.
Yes.
Which taught the use of the Manriki Gusari, or in the Bujinkan group they called it Kusari Fundo. And again, the legend goes it was originally designed by guardians of temples, and because you can't spill blood on holy ground, they would use this to control and restrain attackers, and even samurai by trapping their sword and whatnot. But these are unique. When I look at these, I have a pair of these. Let me tell you, this is Bear Brand. The minute you see it, you go, "Hey, that's Bear Brand."
Yeah.
Were these also made in Korea as well?
Yes.
Wow.
Made in Korea.
And there was all different unique styles, and you had another set that you had made that were very similar and based on Charles Gasansky's model for the Manriki Gusari. And this is the kind of things that you look forward. You just couldn't find them anywhere else. That was the beauty of Bear Brand. And and no talk is complete without, of course, talking about. In the old days, Sears and Roebuck used to make this incredible catalog. and the Christmas edition used to be called the Wish Book. Well, for martial artists in the 70s and 80s, this was our Wish Book. And it's an incredible full-color book, and again, the East West, and this was the 20th anniversary. Now, you started Bear Brand in what year?
64.
So this was the 1984 catalog. And to look through this, and everything from, I mean, sambo uniforms as well as judo uniforms, every type of different type of embroidered kimono from Japan and Korea. Again, and this was another thing that from Korea, you would have the dragons embroidered on the gis. Now, I was talking to you, and you do embroidery in-house. Was this done in-house, or was this done in Korea?
We do that.
Really? Wow. So all this embroidery, and again, if you can see that, and we'll show you pictures later on, of the embroidery on the uniform. And boy, that's a throwback. Satin uniforms, satin gis. Wow. And, to look through this, and so many memories, and so many great things from here. And of course, we're in a Shuriken Central. Right? At the time, no one sold as many Shuriken as you did.
Right.
You had all different styles, all different models. And there's another one. I wish I had one of them handy. I have 4 of them at home. That's the other thing I wanted to ask you about. And one of my instructors bought one, and I never got a chance to get them. He passed away years ago. Bill Gregory. He used to own these aluminum hook swords. And I'll tell you, I'm not saying I would sell members of my family to the Iraqis to get a pair of them, but if you've got a pair, I'm interested. And of course, the other one was the Bagua elbow knives. There were so many unique things. And okay, we've got to talk about this. Now, back in the 1980s, you had these. And I'm going to show it, and we're going to show a picture of it, and I have some at my home. These Chinese lances. Tell me about getting these and how everything came with regards to this.
We have quite a few instructors visiting our company, and they told me, can you make this? Can you make that? Can you make this? That's how we started.
Wow.
Yeah.
And, and nowadays where you see Lung Chuan swords and Lung Chuan weapons from China, these were cold cast iron. And these were solid. And I mean solid. I've got like 4 of them myself. And I remember having the Kwando. And I remember when we got the Kwando, we were like, man, the thing's so top heavy because it was solid iron. This was the real training devices that you really used for Kung Fu. And some of the rarer, more exotic models. That's what made it all worthwhile. And this is just a fraction of everything that we talked about. Everything from ballad songs to the Nunchaku, and numerous Nunchaku, the Tonfa, the Sai, and you're talking about the Manji Sai,
right?
The Manji Sai and the Nunte Sai, and also the Manji with a cross guard and pommel. And again, we'll be showing more of these and talking about this. But we'd get these and we'd be home drooling. I actually have a pair of these, the iron ruler size that you put out, and it was just incredible. And now again, we should mention again, there are some people erroneously who think Bear Brand no longer exists, and we're here to tell everybody, hey, Bear Brand is still very much alive in Chicago. Bear Brand still exists. East West Market Exchange still exists. Again, there's so many things that you put out that were unique. There were so many items, and whether it be weapons or uniforms or belts that were unique. You were showing us a self-defense dummy for handcuffing for law enforcement. I'm going to show you a picture of that as well. The various T-shirts there's certain T-shirts I'll see and they'll show up on eBay every once in a while. I go, that's a Bear Brand shirt. I know it is because I know them by heart because of your unique design. Who did the artwork back then in the 80s?
We had the artist that time, and nowadays everything computerized.
Oh yeah.
So easy, anybody can do. Yeah.
But back then, you had some of the coolest T-shirts.
Yeah.
And when we're standing here, Louis, in the showroom for Bear Brand, and I'm looking over and I'm seeing some of the different T-shirts which we'll be showing you, and I'm sure for many of you who have been in martial arts and been clients of Bear Brand. It's going to bring back a lot of great memories for you. Now, again, we got to talk about your dojo. And I want to talk about something else, and getting back into your training. I was reading in your resume and your bio that you were one of the first people to contact Master Che, and some people know him as Master Choi, for Taekwondo in this country.
Oh, General Choi?
Yes.
Yes, I invited him 1967. First, we have National Taekwondo Championship in Chicago. That time, General Choi came to first time in the United States for the National Taekwondo Championship. Yeah. Then 10 years later, I held a third World Taekwondo Championship. Yeah. So I had first National Taekwondo and third Taekwondo World Championship.
Wow.
I was
incredible.
sponsoring, yeah.
That's incredible. And that's what I mean. When we talk about this is one of the legacies for martial arts and martial arts supplies in America. And if you're a martial artist worth your salt, and you took great pride in having a Bear Brand uniform. You took great pride. If you were a black belt, you got a Bear Brand belt. That was a big deal, because you knew that belt or that uniform was going to stand the test of time. And just like yourself in your career, you stand the test of time.
Yeah.
Now, our final... Oh, please.
Yeah, we have a time to time. Oh, I had this 30 years, we're still good.
Still good.
Yeah. And just something worn out, and we fixed them, and they're so happy. We have quite a few calls, I'm looking for Bear Brand uniform,
Yeah.
Bear Brand belt. In fact, one of the company in the New Jersey called Martial Arts Super.
Oh, Martial Arts Supermarket.
Yeah.
Yeah. Academy of Karate. Matter of fact, I was just there in January.
Oh, they sell Bear Brand.
Bear Brand.
belt. This is #1 in the world.
You bet. And I
That's what they advertising.
I completely agree. And it really they stand the test of time. So my final question today, Master Shin, is what does the future hold for you? What do you want? Well, how old are you now, if you don't mind my asking?
Well, I'm 85.
Wow.
I'm gonna 2 more years. Then I'm gonna start to make a book. I already almost finished, and finalizing. Yeah, and but I want to still continue teaching judo. Yeah.
There you go. And
Because my generation, when we compete, you don't have a weight category. I was 175, and you can fight regardless of who's small or big. Yeah. So I really wanna someday my student to get the Olympic gold medal. That's my goal. So I'm going to continue teaching. I told my student I'm going to die on the mat.
I can definitely relate. And now, with the advent of MMA, more people are going back and finding judo. Ronda Rousey, who just got a contract with WWE, her and her mother are long-standing judoka. People like Judo Jean LaBelle and more MMA practitioners are learning the foundation of judo. You want to take a person to the mat. It's not always Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It's being a good judoka. And having that understanding of everything from kazushi to seonage to haraigoshi, tomonagi, and without those that solid foundation throws and breakfalls and techniques.
I don't know why they call it Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Kimura teaching judo at a long time, first time in Brazil. Then they took the what's his name?
Enzo Gracie, the Gracies.
Yeah, Gracie family.
Gracie. Yeah, Helio. Yeah.
Yeah, they only took the ground technique, Newaza.
Yep.
Yeah. So they teaching Brazilian jiu-jitsu. But we're teaching everything.
You got and that's the whole thing. And a lot of people, when they watch it, they go, okay, it's kind of looks like just judo. And because of the Niwaza and Shimewaza, no aspersion against
Right.
the Gracies, just saying it is what it is in regards to technique. So, that's the whole thing. I had judoka, but it's judo. It's not so much jujitsu, you know. And only because when I think of jujitsu, I think of, you know, bone breaking, Kenpo Jutsu, throw against the joint. I mean, that was the greatest innovation that the Jigiro Kano put into judo, bending the joint to not break the limb so people could come to class next class. But it means so much to me to be here. It means so much to me to be able to talk to you and finally get to know you. And I'm in the toy store, so we're going to be back with some incredible action. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to interview you.
My privilege to meet you. I never see you. Someone have a lot of martial art knowledge.
Well, thank you.
This is the first time I met you.
And thank you.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of knowledge about Bear Brand and the legacy. Oh, one last important question before we go. Why East West Market Exchange?
Oh, that time, East West is a big deal. That's why we made the East West. Yeah.
Fair enough. We'll be back with some exciting footage of the legacy of Bear Brand and Master Shin here on Martial Arts Today Television.